Welcome to PK Woodworking. And if you've watched a few videos, you may notice that things are starting to, clear out here in the shop as I'm getting ready to move. So really currently have 5 machines left in here. 4 of them that would require a pallet. So I've got a bunch of wood here to start making pallets. And then the bandsaw, which I think I'm gonna do without a pallet. So we'll see. But maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know for sure. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here at the end. Submitted some plans to change the shop into an ADU. If you don't know what that is, auxiliary dwelling unit. That's something that happens in California and other places too, where you can have other people living here. But anyway, we've got things to do before then. First things first, this weekend I gotta finish off a project for somebody. They wanted me to make them something. I'm gonna make them something really quick so I can kind of shut this thing down. Within like 5 or 6 days, I'm gonna take the dust collector out of that back unit there, which is gonna require like 4 people to pick it up kind of Egyptian style, if you know what I'm talking about, picking up like a little thing with 2 2x4s and kind of carry it out. And then after that, the rest of this stuff, I'll just start building pallets and get them on top of the pallets. The table saw is going to require a bit of disassembly. We'll see how that all turns out. But I remember how it went together. I was here for that, and I pretty much feel we can take that part of it apart. So it should be pretty simple to do that stuff. Where do we go from here? What's happening here? Well, at the end of this video, hopefully I can show you guys how I'm going to build these pallets. And so I'm going to build them pretty much the same way that they were built when they came to me from Europe. The only difference will be that I won't be putting any kind of structure around the outside of it. I won't need to really, because I'm going to be the only one moving them. So I don't need to have a crate built around the outside of it. I just need them bolted down to the pallet. Lots of stuff to remove here still. It's going to go on and on and on. I'm not going to detail those long term, but I do want to kind of show you all how I'm going to go about shipping them and putting them on pallets, and a pallet that I think will survive a shipment. That's the plan of this video at least. So we'll catch you as I do this over the next couple of days. So you may see me changing in and out of different shirts as it all goes, but that's how it's going to work out. When you get down to it all, man, there's a lot of stuff to take out of this shop that I didn't even think of the process of putting it into. I've already taken all the speakers out of the ceiling, all the speakers out of the walls. I've taken a lot of things off the walls, but I still have a lot of stuff on the walls. There's a lot that is going to go into getting everything out of here and getting into the next shop. But I think that you'll just kind of see it happen as it goes versus me like making 12 videos about moving the shop. There'll be more than enough time spent building the shop when we get there. We'll just keep you along for most of the stuff that I think makes sense for you. If there's something that you want to know, put it in the comments below, and I can add those things in along as I keep building this stuff. So anyways, off to pallet making. A few weeks have gone by and got a lot done so far. So, or maybe not, I don't know. 3 pallets made. This one's for the saw. That one's for the joiner planer. Back one is for the sander. Yeah, I apologize for not keeping more up to date on this, but as you can tell, like the actual moving is pretty crazy at this point in time. Everything's starting to get packaged up. I'm gonna show you some other stuff, and I'm gonna change my mind about something I already said in a previous video, so hold on. So on the saw, as you can see, this is probably the first time since commissioning that you've seen this without the outrigger on it. And the outrigger removal is actually incredibly easy with one of my rain gate carts. It's as easy as one lever, and then you have to like override the lever from going too far, because moving the lever allows you to easily slide the thing back and forth wherever you want it on the slider. But then pushing in, going all the way to the top, lets the whole thing pop off, and it's really easy. When I get back to the new shop, I'll show you how easy it is, because compared to what I was used to and having to do the felder and getting the felder on its cart, just amazingly different and easy. So that was cool. Let me show you how I've got the actual cart here. Welcome to moving. the outrigger cart, I'm sorry, on the actual cart, which is kind of fun. And this is that little arm I was talking about, that there's an override button here to let you override it and stick it on there. And then I've got it strapped down to this cart. I've got the crosscut fence strapped to the cart as well. Got to do some protecting on either end so nothing bad happens to it. And this is a support arm, which I'm going to have to strap down as well. But good use of the rain gate cart as I get it to my new shop. I've probably talked about this ad nauseum and you're all sick of this. So again, apologies in advance, but I've made a decision that I am going to sell the Felder shaper. It's a great shaper. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't do anything that I don't like. I just want one machine now, and I'll explain. I went back and forth about this a lot. Talked about it in my last video. Have two shapers, one a fixed spindle, this one is a tilting, that whole conversation. And then when I really got into it, looking at the new shop and the shape of the new shop and where this shaper would have to be, kind of came to the conclusion that space is still my problem. So I need to buy one shaper that does it all for me. And so that's going to mean that's going to have a 10-inning side table, which you'll see when I get it. And then let me give you a snapshot of what the actual shop is going to look like so you can understand it better. Okay, lighting's going to suck here a little bit, but this is just how it is. I'm actually filming a TV, which isn't the best way to do this, but I just figured it'd be easy right now. So let me give you kind of the idea of this. So this right here is the two-car garage opening of the shop, or the garage. This line from here to here, everything on this side is a 9-foot ceiling. Everything on this side is a 17-foot ceiling. So this opening right here is what would be called the RV garage opening, but the only time it's really going to open is if I'm using the lumber rack. So up here is what I'm assuming is going to end up on my mezzanine. And the reason there's a hole in the corner over here is because we're building a kind of an elevator that's going to go right there. So let me give you the rundown of this that's different. I'm getting a frame press, and that's going to be right here. The table saw now is going to be configured the opposite direction. It's going to run across the entire shop. And because of that, I'm doing that because where I'm moving is much warmer, and I don't believe I can have the garage doors open and do work and not irritate my neighbors. So the goal would be that the shop would pretty much be closed all the time, the garage doors, while we're working. The bandsaw is probably going to end up here at the front. The Kundig sander up here at the front, although I'm going to get some wheels for it so it'll be easier to move. Lumber rack that you have only seen in a couple of random things that I've shown you that were in my sheds before is now going to have to be inside the shop, and it'll be right here. The joiner planer combo is going to be here, although it's hard to tell, but these dimensions that I've got here of these machines are actually full exterior dimensions of where things would have to go to. So this is actually a lot bigger than the machine actually is, if that makes any sense to anyone. This will be pushed back into the corner a little bit more. And then these are the posts where the mezzanine will end up at. So those posts are kind of structurally going to be there. I made the decision to put the posts in because it just makes it simpler to frame and not put the weight on the walls that weren't necessarily made for that. And then it's hard to read this stuff, but bathroom's going to be right here. Slop sink is going to be next to it. The cabinets that I have for tools are going to be right here. And then the cabinet that's going to be for all the shaper tooling goes right there. And then here's the shaper. And the shaper is sitting here, probably going to move forward and in a little bit depending on the actual footprint of it. Dust collector has to be inside. That'll be here. Wide belt sander in the front. So give you an idea. When you're using the planer, the FS7, the wood would go this direction through it and out. I'm pushing it in this direction a little bit so it can get past this post. When you're using the shaper would have the wood going from this direction to this direction, or if you're using the side tenon table from this direction to this direction. So I got to manipulate that to make sure it works the way I want to. The wide belt sander, wood goes in this side, out this side. Pretty simple. These two rain gate benches are movable, and the Barth bench is movable, so those can go wherever they want to. And then the table saw can travel its entire length without being impeded by anything, including the outrigger. So that's the general gist here. The dovetail machine, which is probably the heaviest machine that will be upstairs, will be on top of the bathroom. So no problem to support the weight there. And then most of the rest of these are like 600 pounds or less. The Maggi hole drilling machine is there, the Hoffman there, the FD250 Felder there, the Castle pocket screw machine there, and then the Castle face frame table there, although I probably could have put an angle on it and made it look a lot nicer. Drill press in the corner, and then the router table and the O-maul, those are actually gonna get bolted to the wall on the backside, so those are gonna be there. The ceiling on the above the mezzanine is gonna be just a tad under 7 feet tall, and that gives me about 8.5 feet under it for this part of it. So this part of the shop will have an 8.5 foot tall ceiling below. This part will be 9 feet. And then this open part here will be 17 feet. Part of that is just I can't go any farther because this door has a huge like radius that comes up and kind of blocks where I'd have to be able to put it at. So that's the reason why I'm going with one shaper, is because I originally thought, well, I could put the other shaper over here and I could adjust them. It just wasn't going to fit. And so I'm better off to just pick one shaper that does it all. Okay, the rest of today and tomorrow are about getting a lot of the stuff out of the shop that's not a machine. We're going to get all of these big cabinets out of here with my sons and get ready to get them moved in the next day or two. So I've got 3 of those in here. I've got 1 out in front. So 4 of those are going to get out of here today. We're going to move as much of the rubber that we can out that's kind of in the way as well, and get some of that strapped up and put onto pallets for the future. I'm not going to take those this time because they're probably too heavy to put in the trailer that I've got. I'm going to probably have to do one more trip in some kind of a box truck or something, I don't know, to take it up there. Maybe I can put it in something smaller, we'll see. And then after we get that stuff up there, we'll come back down and we're gonna start removing all of the plywood off the walls, because it looks as though the city I live in now is good with us changing this from the shop it is now to an ADU without a whole lot of work being done. The Title 24 that has to get done in California for all these kind of buildings like this passed the way it is now with the insulation that I have and the way the 2 mini splits are put. Don't even have to move them. Those are going to be fine where they're at. Just going to put a wall down the center kind of here to give 2 more rooms here, 2 bedrooms, and then a room for people to watch TV or whatever. And then this corner where my slop sink's behind you over here, that will actually be a little kitchenette. So seems like this will all kind of work out, and it's a lot of moving parts, but I think that by the end of probably next weekend, all the plywood should be off the walls, and I should be able to start stripping the 3-phase stuff, which means we're going to be working on getting all of these machines onto pallets and then into my garage, so that I can get somebody to take this stuff, or I can do it myself. I think I've found somebody who might be able to do this for me. They call them hot shotters, that would be able to pick this up here. I would have to forklift it onto the person's trailer and then tarp the actual machines completely, and then take them up to where I'm going to. And then I'll have to show up there immediately with a forklift at the storage facility, take them off, and then get him into the storage unit. After that, everything can be done with pallet jacks. So that's kind of the go-to that we're working with. So anyways, I do want to show you a little bit about how I built the pallet before we're done, just to show you that everyone was looking to offer me their free pallets. And so, but it wouldn't work for how heavy this stuff is. I wasn't confident. This is pretty much how the machines came to me, the kind of pallets that were built before for me. So on this particular pallet here,
which is the one for the saw. I think that's the wood we used, might have come off of the Kundig pallet, but I think that's the stuff that came off the SCM pallet. Regardless, I put a 2x6 stringer across the ends and across the center, and those are all nailed together with 3 1/4 framing nails. This thing is never coming apart in a way that I want it to come apart, at least. And then underneath that, I had to nail the stringers first to those 4x4s to make sure that I had penetration of the 4x4s. So I have 12-inch 4x4 blocks on all the corners like that, so that I can get the proper distance I need to use a forklift and or use a pallet jack, and then still be able to put the white wood that I bought across the bottom to keep it from bending or doing this while it's on a truck, or when you're getting it up and on the truck. There's going to be a lot of strapping, screwing down, bolting down. SI3 Law Invincible, it's actually going to get bolted to the pallet. It came with brackets that were used to bolt it to the pallet, and they're through bolts. That's what I'm going to do on this one also. The same thing goes for my planer. The joiner planer combo is going to go on the next pallet that's over there, and again, going to get bolted to the pallet, and it came with some bolts and some brackets that I'm going to use with that as well. And then for the sander, the wide belt sander on the farthest pallet out there, that's a little unique because I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. I might have to put 4x4s underneath it and then bolt the 4x4s to it, and then bolt the 4x4s to the pallet. It's going to be a thing. You can move that sander with just 4x4 runners on the bottom, but I think I'm going to choose it to go with the pallet because I think it might be more stable that way. I could be wrong, but we'll see how that all works out. For me, I wasn't happy the way they shipped it to me the first time, and it was just on runners, so I'm going to do it this way instead and try to get it to work the way I'm thinking. So those are the pallets. Quick one this time. I appreciate you hanging out with me and going through all of these videos. Some really nice comments recently, which I really appreciate. And we are literally weeks away from getting the keys to the new home, and then getting things up there, and then starting building the shop. And I'll start showing you what that starts to look like on the other side. I'm not going to film this getting changed into an ADU because I'm probably not going to be here when most of this is all going down. But I will do some more videos because next week we'll probably be taking down all the dust collection stuff and getting that all put on a pallet and ready to go. So there'll be some stuff that's still going to come around for the disassembly, the 3-phase removal, all that other kind of fun stuff. So I'll video some of that stuff. But again, thanks for hanging around with me. And if you didn't like and subscribe, I mean, come on. You got this far. Like and subscribe. Thanks.